Hello, Studio 108 community. Thank you so much for clicking in and following today. I'm sitting with Leah Rachelle, and we have a really big event coming up, a series. So it ends up feeling like a lot because I know Leah's preparing a lot of experience and information and treats, basically treats for you. So Leah, what's up? What do you have planned?
So it's our second, I would say second annual, except we skipped last year,
Oh, we
right?
did.
I don't think we did this last year. I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
But it's the second women's health coaching or women's hormone health coaching group that I'm doing. And it's a 4-week series. We're going to meet on Sundays at 4:45 at the studio. Um, it will be recorded, so if folks can't make the in-person sessions, I'm gonna just record, and then they can either like live stream or watch the recording. And it's a deep dive into using food as medicine to support our hormones and our cycles throughout the month, but then also as we reach our perimenopause and postmenopausal years. I just think that there's a lot of conflicting information and a lot of confusion when it comes to diets and supplements. And there's should I be doing keto? Should I be intermittent fasting? Should I be, counting my protein? Should I be eating plant-based, right? Like there's like so much confusion. And I think that the reason I love doing health coaching and working one-on-one with people is because we can kind of formulate like personalized nutrition plans.
Right.
But this program is cool because it kind of lets you be able to do that yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a group, but it's not a large group. It's not like there's 30 people.
No, it's
so
a small.
it's semi-private.
Yeah, it's going to be small. I don't remember what I capped that, but it will be a small group. So there, if you're someone that wants to kind of pick my brain a little bit, yeah, it's definitely for you. And I'm not to toot my own horn, but I really love this information, and I really like dive in deep, and have been studying functional medicine and nutrition for God, how old? I'm 20, I'll be 29 this year. So like 10 years at minimum, because I really started kind of diving in high school. So yeah, I mean, what do you want to know? What can we tell? There's so much.
There's so much, but you've got 4 weeks. So you've got some different topics that you're going to be touching base. And I think one of the things that's so interesting to me is like I read things and I get the actual facts and the information, but I don't really know how it applies to me. So it's like if someone says women should be eating more protein, like they don't know how much protein I eat. And they don't know,
Right.
like, then when you say to me, yeah, but this, yeah, but that, and the specifics around what I'm choosing as protein and how I pace it through the day and how much I eat compared to, what the ideal thought stream is on that, what the research is saying.
Well, I think what happens when we follow these like absolutes, right? So, there was a big push, kind of like in like the bodybuilding communities in like the 90s. Like a standard meal would be like chicken breast, brown rice, and like broccoli.
Yeah.
And you would eat that same thing all the time. And it was really good, or it can be really good at building muscle and keeping body fat low, because you're essentially, I mean, you're cutting way down on your healthy fats. Right. So but what do we know about the importance of fat as a macronutrient and what it does to support our hormone health? So, to support our metabolism, yeah, and our brain and our cravings and our mood. And like, there's kind of a phenomenon where women athletes will like lose their periods, or people who are chronically dieting and following really low calorie diets can end up with these hormone dysregulations, where whether it's PMDD or just super severe PMS symptoms, they're not getting any period at all. And then there's like a whole other kind of cohort of people maybe dealing with like estrogen dominance and PCOS. And there's just, I think there's a lot of hormonal dysregulation right now. And I think part of it is because of like misinformation and someone saying you should be eating low fat and then following that, or someone saying you should be eating low carbs and then following that. And then some of it is just that we live in a really imbalanced society and culture. And we also live with a lot of toxins in our environment. So, you know, it's time, like times are different. And I think that my philosophy on nutrition is that it's rhythmic, especially women's nutrition. We go through monthly cycles, we go through daily cycles, we go through longer cycles across our lifetime. And we're in connection with nature. We're in connection with each other. We're in connection with our food and our bodies. So it's rhythmic and there's a pattern to it. And that's why following these either extreme diets or else these really kind of like narrow focus mindsets that are very patriarchal don't work for our bodies in this time. Yeah.
I'm hearing too, like, when you're talking across the health spectrum, like we always had this idea that if I was thin enough, I was healthy. And I know even in like the different styles of yoga, one of the reasons I really appreciate and resonate with Kundalini yoga is because they talk about endocrine health and they talk about immune health and they talk about nervous system health. And so it's not all about, can I do crow pose? Can I get my mind in half moon? Did I come to enough power classes this week? Am I burning? Like the whole idea of fitness, you're talking about a really,
it's more holistic.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive conversation.
Because these systems, when dysregulated, dysregulate each other. Dysregulated nervous system, what does that do to your immune system? What does that do to your metabolism?
Gain weight, lose weight.
Right. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So it is way more holistic.
Yeah.
It is way more holistic. And it's holistic in the sense that, you know, it's holistic within ourselves and, you know, for each individual person to find out how to balance their sleep and their stress and their nutrients and even their macronutrients, right? But it's also holistic in terms of like looking at like a broader environment. If we are living, consuming in a way that is taking more from the environment than giving, right? So if we're not being conscious of, you know, local initiatives, or even like our plastic consumption, or like buying fast fashion. Like, what do you think happens when, you know, we're wearing clothes that are you know, have microplastics in them, and then we're washing them in our laundry, and then all those microplastics go into the it's like that. And so it's the conversation around hormone health is all about the microcosm influencing the macrocosm and vice versa.
Right.
And that, I don't know if that made sense, but.
Well, it does make sense, but I'll be honest with you, like I have to take a deep breath because sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, you know? So like, that's one of the things I really appreciate about my conversations with you. And I'm lucky that I have like an inside stream. Like you can say all this and I can go, whoa, but then when you are like focused in helping me with something or giving thoughts or recommendations for the dinner menu, you're really good at just, we need another fat on that, and you'll throw in like something that I wouldn't have noticed was a fat. And so
there's some guidelines, there's some basic guidelines and some guiding principles that we'll be covering in the group that are way less complicated than this like esoteric conversation about hormones. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Sure. Do you want me to give you one?
Well, you could give me one, but hey, I want to tell this story about like what it's like to stop by your house.
Okay.
At like 1 o'clock when I haven't had lunch yet and I'm getting hangry. And Leah says, are you hungry? Because you're so astute and wise and observant, and you're a therapist, so you always know like, oh, she looks crazy, let's give her some food. But like,
well, and we chronically undereat.
Yeah. And so can you just like, I don't have a picture to show people how beautiful the bowl is that Leah gives me when I say but like in 2 seconds, you put together this beautifully balanced, nutrient dense and really tasty lunch. Mm-hmm. So can we just like chop down really quick, like what would go into something like that? And can you tell us like why? Like what goes into that and why you put that in?
So, and again, right, like there's not one, I just want to be clear that this might not be what's considered healthy for everyone at every stage in their life. But in general, right, I'm looking at getting a lot of like non-starchy vegetables in my diet. So I love, and especially during certain phases of the month, specifically the phases of the month where your hormone levels are high. So during, just before ovulation and then just before your period, really looking at getting in a lot of dark leafy bitter greens.
So really, you would chop up kale and arugula?
Yeah, well, so kale and, right, so bitter greens, cruciferous vegetables, which help with estrogen metabolism.
So that would be Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, all sorts of cruciferous, but definitely like, so I'll think about like half the plate or like a base of like dark leafy greens. Now, depending on, right, like if you have low thyroid function, you might decide to cook or steam your cruciferous vegetables.
Gotcha.
Okay, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, like, and then we're looking at getting some sort of carbohydrate, and when carbohydrates have been really demonized, and it's such a shame.
So you like to do maybe butternut
squash, sweet potato, but I look at nature's carbs.
Oh, okay.
Nature's carbs versus like processed carbs.
Yeah, no. You never boil me pasta or anything.
Well, sometimes I'll do some like lentil pasta. Yeah.
But for the most part.
For the most part, right. So like we're thinking, I love sweet potato. And again, we're pulling in lots of color, right? So I love sweet potato. I love squashes. Yeah, any sort of squash.
Oh, the delicata squash.
Delicata squash. You can do rice. Quinoa is it's a complete plant protein. And then I do protein. So I think like a typical, like I try to get 20 to 30 grams per meal, sometimes even more, but definitely focusing for me on protein, especially during certain phases of the month, can be really helpful to build muscle, to stabilize my mood. Proteins have the amino acids that create all of our neurotransmitters. So that would be.
So sometimes you do chicken. And then you really too, you like your Instapot. So sometimes
I do use the Instapot a lot, yeah. And then you're wanting to get some sort of healthy fat, right? So avocado, we're thinking about, like, I love drizzling olive oil, especially for satiety over meals. Fat stimulates your satiety hormone. So adding healthy fat to meals is also really important. And then fermented food. So often I'll put some sort of fermented food, right? So sauerkraut, kimchi are big ones for me. I love, right, like doing like dressings and putting in some vinegar, something from the allium family. So I love doing like grated garlic, and then herbs, right? So parsley, cilantro, but really like just building like a really colorful meal, looking at colors, looking at the amount of plant foods that you're getting into your diet every day, even ones that like, jicama, for example, is like, I go through phases where I kind of create my own superfoods, and I don't love the word superfood because really no food is a superfood and all foods are superfoods, but like jicama is so high in fiber. So just having like cut up jicama in your fridge and putting that on. I love like radishes right now. Pomegranate seeds is the season. Edamame for, protein. I love sprinkling like nutritional yeast and hemp seeds, also complete plant proteins on top. So I don't know, it's fun. And
Aren't you glad you came for lunch?
So definitely, I don't know, I will break things down as best I can to kind of give some guidelines. But then what's really great about it is, you know, I kind of throw the spaghetti at the wall in terms of like lots of information, and then we'll just kind of create little 100%. Steps around that with what works for you. And I truly believe that every single person has the intuition within them of knowing exactly what it is that their body needs, exactly, you know, what the next step needs to be. So
yeah, and I also know how much you respect and appreciate baby steps, like making small adjustments that can become habits is much more important than capturing absolutely everything and trying to make a big sweeping change. It's just coming in, you know, 4 weeks is enough time to make 4 shifts in perspective, shifts in thought and choice, and kind of build a little step-by-step initiative, New Year's initiative.
Yeah. And I think, you know, again, like it's the, you know, a lot of these things are really simple, but that doesn't mean they're easy. But really focusing on our lifestyle, our nutrition, our sleep, the things that we can control go so much further than taking, you know, there is a place for like hormone replacement therapy. You know, I think that is great. And was demonized for a long time. And now we're realizing that that was not right, because there is a place for it. But there's so much we can do with just lifestyle alone that is completely free. And so many people kind of jump the gun and go straight to supplementation and straight to hormone replacement and straight to, you know, like.
Well, and I think too, when you get frustrated, when you're not feeling well, you don't feel your best and you're getting frustrated, we feel like we've tried everything. I've tried that. Nothing works. Just give me the pill, give me the thing. Like, but those things don't necessarily, there is no instant cure. It's always like a comprehensive lifestyle situation. Nothing's going to hack living like a crazy person. You're going to have to get sleep no matter what. You're going to have to kind of prioritize your daily schedule and build in time for reflection in yourself.
And you're going to have to eat.
You're going to have to make time to eat and
sit down
and make thoughtful choices about what that is.
Yeah. And
there isn't a pill that's going to counteract 3 meals of fast food a day.
There are pills, but what we know, what happens with the pills is, are they going to be effective and are they going to be sustainable, right, for a long period of time?
Yeah.
And chances are no, because again, that is like the old patriarchal way of slapping a pill on, quick, efficient. And what have we learned? That's not nature's way. Nature is feminine. Nature is slow. Nature is nurturing. Nature moves cyclically, right?
Yeah.
So right now, healthcare and even functional medicine, which I'm a big fan of, has become, it feels to me just very patriarchal, very kind of like that same like system of you know, consumerism and yeah, so my approach is a little bit more holistic. So yeah, we'll talk about food, we'll talk about mindset. Yeah, and if you want to work with me, I also take on some personal clients as well. So
anything else?
Oh no, I think that's yeah. Do you have any other questions?
No. You'll probably touch on a little bit of the herbal thing for people as you
so we'll definitely so I'm starting, so the first we're starting with food and nutrition because that's more foundational. But yeah, we'll definitely be talking about some herbal supplements, specifically some herbs around, like, I think I'm going to bring in some burdock root tea for the first week. Some favorites would be like nettle tea, or even like spearmint has been shown, like 2 cups of spearmint tea if you're dealing with low progesterone levels. So there's all sorts of like kind of little herbal hacks that I'll talk about. And that will be dependent too on who signs up and shows up. So
what kind of questions
there are. Yeah. And then I'm, you know,
so you can come kind of expecting to steer it a little bit too. Like you're really
we'll be
sit quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Questions for sure.
Questions and answers. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Congratulations on the second year.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thanks for listening in today. I hope we answered some questions and got you curious and maybe excited about joining Leah in the conversation for a really great initiative for your 2025. Thanks for following. Thanks, Leah.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.